Ever wondered how a single quote or semicolon can expose an entire database? Imagine you're relaxing on a Saturday evening, scrolling through your favorite online store. Suddenly your screen goes blank, and when you refresh, you find that all your data has vanished. A nightmare, right? Such incidents, unfortunately, aren't merely figments of imagination. They are grim realities in the world of cybersecurity. This brings us to the topic of SQL injection attacks, a technique where malicious SQL code is inserted into a query to manipulate and exploit the database. Among the various types of SQLi attacks, error-based SQLi attacks hold a notorious reputation. They leverage the error messages returned by servers to gather information about the structure of the database. In the hands of a skilled hacker, this information is a treasure trove, capable of causing significant damage. The key to solving a problem is understanding it, and that's exactly what we're going to do with error-based SQLi attacks. So what exactly happens in an error-based SQLi attack? Well, let's break it down. An error-based SQL injection attack is a three-stage process, each stage building on the last to exploit vulnerabilities in a system's database. The first stage, injection. In this stage, the attacker formulates a malicious SQL query and injects it into the system. This isn't any old query, mind you. It's specifically designed to provoke an error. The attacker might, for example, purposefully mismatch data types or use operators incorrectly. The aim here is to confuse the system and trigger an error message. Which brings us to the second stage, the error. Now, you might think, an error message, so what? But in the hands of a skilled attacker, that error message is a goldmine of information. See, when the system gets confused by the malicious query, it often reveals sensitive data in its error message. This could be table names, column names, or even snippets of data. It's like the system is accidentally giving away its own secrets. And finally, we reach the third stage, exploitation. With the sensitive information gained from the error message, the attacker now has a roadmap to the system's database. They can craft more precise and damaging queries, targeting specific tables or columns. It's like they've been given the keys to the kingdom and they're free to wreak havoc. And there you have it. From a seemingly harmless error message, an attacker can gain a foothold into a system's database, expose sensitive data, and exploit it for their own gain. It's a process that's as terrifying as it is fascinating. It demonstrates just how crucial it is for systems to be designed and maintained with security in mind. After all, the smallest chink in the armor can be exploited by those with nefarious intentions. As you can see, an error-based SQLi attack is a systematic process that takes advantage of a system's vulnerabilities. Now that we have a basic understanding of the process, let's dive a bit deeper. In an error-based SQLi attack, everything begins with the attacker injecting a malicious query. This could be as simple as adding a single quote or semicolon to a URL, or as complex as crafting a query designed to trick the system into revealing its secrets. The goal is to make the system hiccup and spill out an error message. But not just any error message will do. The attacker is looking for a specific kind of error message, one that reveals sensitive information about the system's database. This could be table names, columns, or even data. This is akin to a burglar setting off an alarm on purpose just to see where the security guards come from. And just like that burglar, the attacker is looking to exploit the information they've gleaned from the system's response. Now let's talk about exploitation. This is where the attacker takes the information they've gathered and uses it to their advantage. Let's say, for instance, they've discovered a table name through an error message. They could then craft a new query designed to extract data from that table. This could be usernames, passwords, credit card numbers. Anything that's stored in that table is fair game. But it's not just about stealing data. The attacker could also use this information to manipulate the system, the changing data, or even taking control of the system entirely. It's a terrifying prospect, but one that's all too real in the world of cybersecurity. This is why understanding the process in detail is so essential. It's easy to think of cybersecurity as a high-tech game of cat and mouse, but it's far more than that. It's a constant battle to stay one step ahead of the attackers, to understand their tactics, and to shore up our defenses before they find a way in. Understanding the process in detail helps us recognize the potential vulnerabilities in our systems. We've taken a deep dive into error-based SQLi attacks. Now let's summarize the main points. These attacks manipulate the code to trigger SQL errors, revealing sensitive information. They exploit flaws in an application's interaction with a database, often resulting from inadequate input validation. The process involves 3 key steps. First, the attacker identifies the vulnerability. Then they engineer an SQL query that will cause an error, revealing important data. Finally, they analyze this data to further their illicit objectives. Understanding these attacks is crucial in fortifying cybersecurity measures. By comprehending the anatomy of an error-based SQLi attack, you can better anticipate potential vulnerabilities and fortify your defenses. This knowledge allows for proactive measures, such as using parameterized queries or employing a web application firewall to prevent these attacks. Remember, knowledge is power. The more you know about these attacks, the better equipped you are to prevent them. We've covered a lot today, but there's always more to learn in the world of cybersecurity. Error-based SQLi attacks are just one chapter in the vast book of cybersecurity. As we continue to depend more and more on technology, the importance of understanding and mitigating these threats cannot be overstated. There are numerous resources available on this critical subject. Books, online courses, webinars, and forums offer a wealth of information. Websites like Cybersecurity Venture or the Cybersecurity Hub are excellent starting points. For those interested in SQLi attacks specifically, OWASP, an open community dedicated to enabling organizations to conceive, develop, acquire, operate, and maintain applications that can be trusted, offers comprehensive guides and resources. Remember, continuous learning is key. In cybersecurity, the only constant is change. As new threats emerge, new defenses must be developed. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and keep learning. That's the best defense against any cyber attack.